Darnise. Welcome into another episode of Dr. Darnise's House of Religion, Magic, and Conjure. Hope y'all are doing well. So, I have a couple things I want to share with you, including an announcement of a program that I want to do. So, stay tuned to the end for that. What I want to talk about first is kind of an extension of what I talked about in the last video about owning our own things as people of African descent, owning our own traditions, owning our own culture, spiritualities, religions, what have you. And so further along that, I have some resources that I want to share. So what I'm planning to do is do a series, a little mini series of videos about that. And so I have a few books that I want to recommend for you in case you're into that kind of thing. Obviously, I am into books. I'm a professor, and so yeah, I like books. And people generally ask me, what should I read? Where can I find out more information? So I'm hoping to, help people know where to look as well. So, in no particular order, I have some books that I want to share with you for where you might do your own research, or where you might read some fiction that highlights our African traditions and spiritualities. And so I may as well, oh, my earring just fell off, y'all. All right, I'm gonna take off the other one. I'm gonna start with the work of fiction. And maybe you've heard of this one. See if I can get that in there. Children of Blood and Bone by Tommy Adeyemi, I think that is. Yeah, this is the size of it, right? This is a novel by this young Nigerian American woman. And this book has been very popular. It's been on the New York Times bestseller list. And I'm recommending it. I read it, and it is a story basically coming of age about a young woman, African woman, who is invested in rediscovering her people's magic. And so, for example, on the back it says, "They killed my mother, they took our magic, they tried to bury us, now we rise." And embedded in this story of her coming to own her own power is all kinds of African traditional spiritualities. And, even the table of contents has like the Magi clans. And so it is full of references to African deities. And so I'm recommending that, as a work of fiction again, but it's good to have stories that center us, right? So that if you want to give this to a teenager also, they're reading about somebody who's like them and maybe introducing them to African traditional spiritualities, the world of magic, as an alternative to what they might get in a society that really gives us institutional religions only and says those are the right ones, those are the correct ones. You better be a good Christian, Jew or Muslim, and that's all there is for you. But if you read this story and this young woman is trying to rediscover magic for her people, it might open up some other questions for them and give you an opportunity to have some other kind of discussions with your young people and for yourself. So I recommend that as a work of fiction. Secondly, I recommend this book a lot. I use this in my classroom. This is the classic Slave Religion by Albert J. Rabbitoe. And this is a classic text used pretty much by anybody who teaches African American religions. I'm going to say in the country, probably the world. If you're going to teach African American religions, you're going to do Rabbitoe. This is the classic text for that. And, for better or worse, this book came out in the late 70s, and it's still the 1978. And it is still the classic because it's history. So, the history isn't going to change. We're going to find out additional things. But essentially, the history is the same. So I recommend it because it gives us a view into, not slavery per se, where you're like, I don't want to read a book about slavery anymore. Well, it's not so much about slavery as it is about African American ingenuity and how African Americans became Christian but changed that Christianity to be about, to have a freedom focus and um, to integrate African. So when I talk about conjure, for example, there's whole sections in here about conjure and hoodoo and how people mix those together and did not consider it to be a conflict, even if they were considering themselves to be Christian. So again, this is the classic text, Slave Religion by Albert Rabbitoe, that I suggest you read. And this other book, Women and New and Africana Religions. This is an edited volume, and it has several different sections on different kinds of practices that women have been doing all over the world, really. And in all disclosure, I'm one of the editors of the book. So you can see down here, along with Lillian Ashcraft Eason and Oyeronke Oladipo, we are co-editors of this volume. And this was in the Women and Religion in the World series by Prager Press. So there's a whole series of women and religion in the world that they did. Like women in Eastern traditions, women in Christianity. We did the volume on women and new religions and Africana religions. So I can recommend that to you as well. If you want to get like just a variety of the ways that African American women or African women have been integrating religious practices with their contemporary circumstances on all over the world. So how have they managed to make their spirituality relevant for them? That's what that's about. You can find that on Amazon. You can do a look inside if you go on Amazon and see, if that's really something you want to read or not. But again, this is stuff that we do, people of African descent do. And I really want to give us tools to think about, where are we in this, in the telling of history? Where are we in the telling of our own stories? Because as we know, other people of other cultures will take our stuff. They'll take our culture. They do it all the time. So I would like to offer, as a teacher, as I always am, that we come to know what is ours and we have our own personal libraries of stuff that is ours. Anyway, so those are a few things, and I'm going to come back with another video with a few more. I just didn't happen to have those books with me. They're in my university office, so I'll have to gather those up and bring them back. I have probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 copies of Slave Religion because, as I said, it's a classic, and at the end of the school year, some students are like, you can have this back. I'm never going to read this again. So, if they tell me they're going to sell it back, then I tell them I'll buy it from them, or they just give it to me. And, I can pass it on to another student who maybe doesn't have money to buy a book. So I have several copies of that book. And what else did I want to say? Here's the announcement. So if you're still staying with me, what I want to do is create a teaching, an end of the year ritual that takes us into the new year, prepares us for our new year. So I want us to start looking ahead. Here it is, the end of November. And I do a program for my coaching clients called the First 31. And that means in January, I work with them as an accountability partner for the first 31 days of the new year. And so this is I think it's the 3rd year that I've done it like this, the first 31. And that means every day we're doing something, or they're doing something, and then weekly we all come together to do something virtually. on a conference call or using something like Zoom. Now YouTube has YouTube Live. I may use that. But anyway, in addition to that, I want to offer to you all here in my YouTube community an opportunity to set ourselves up for our 2019 that's going to be powerful, spiritual, and magical. So the kinds of things that we're doing here, how to position ourselves using our spirituality. So it's not just general New Year's resolutions, but being very mindful about what we want to do and then bringing together the rituals and elements to help us do that. So if you're interested in that kind of program with me, it'll be like 2 weeks in January, most likely. 2 weeks in January, and I'm going to do a series of videos, a series of trainings, and then there'll be a live, either YouTube Live or something like that. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I just thought, well, I'm preparing for the first 31. Why don't I offer something to this community? Because I'm excited to offer something that has a focus around magic and spirituality and religion the way we do it here. And so I thought, well, it'll be really cool to work with people who want some accountability, right? Like beginning of a year is when people feel like, oh, I want to get my life right, or I want to do the thing that I've been putting off for so long, and I keep getting started and I never finish. And so if you're that kind of person, you want to be really mindful and apply your spirituality directly to that, then I'm going to offer a program for that. Let's just think of it as a boot camp, a spiritual boot camp to put those things together, put your intentions and your goals together with your spiritual practice. So if you want to do that with me, then leave a comment in the comment section and say, I want to join the boot camp. And then I'll know, approximately how many people. I have to keep it small because I want to be able to, check in with people and really help people, coach people. I don't want it to be a huge thing and then I kind of lose track of people. So keeping that in mind, that it's going to be small, I'm going to say 10 people or fewer. So if you know, yes, I want to do that. Yes, I want to apply my spirituality. Yes, I want to do this at the beginning of the year, set myself up for success, and use my spirituality to do that. You know that you want to do that, then leave me a comment about that, and then I'll have a good sense of how to proceed. So that is my announcement. And again, I'm going to be back with another video giving you some more tips or some more book resources and maybe some movies as well, so that we can own our own stuff and have our own personal libraries. So that's all. Bye for now.